following presentation is rated PG and may contain coarse language and mature themes. Viewer discretion is advised.
The unfortunate part is, in today's society, they still have the thought that an alcoholic is someone sleeping under the bridge, wearing a trench coat and drinking wine out of a brown paper bag. Well, I can tell you there are so many people from every walk of life that are suffering from this affliction.
I'm Peter Anthony, and I'm inviting you to join me with friends old and new who have battled substance abuse disorder and have come out clean on the other side. What's it take to kick drugs and alcohol, and what's it like living the sober life? Find out right here on Recovery Road.
My name is Gerry, and I'm in recovery from alcoholism. My first drink I had when I was 13 years old. And I got drunk and I was so sick I thought I'd never drink again. And I didn't really. This didn't really come on into my life until I was approximately into my 30s, late 30s possibly. And had it not been for my wife, I would have been a mess much, much sooner than I was. As I got older, I was taking a month off every year from drinking just to show that I was in control. But my true alcoholism didn't start until after my wife passed 19 years ago.
When you were taking those months off,
I'm
just curious, like what did that feel like? Were you like, I can't wait till the month's over?
I was very stubborn, still am, and I wanted to be able to feel in my mind that I was in control and that the alcohol wasn't. I remember when I would go back out again, I would only be drinking what I would call sociable, but it wouldn't take long before it started ramping up. My wife, she was able to rein me back in, as I said before. There was times that I know a lot of other people would have given up on me, for sure. And so when that was going on, it was frightening for me because I was thinking, well, I loved her that much that no way did I want to lose her. It was April of 2005. She kept getting sicker and sicker, and then we found out she had stomach cancer. She died on the 2nd of October, and I never had a drink because I knew at that time if I started to drink, that would be the end of me. And I went 14 months before I drank again. Early in my career, all I drank was beer. Then we got into a bit of wine. But as I progressed, it was vodka. There was no mix. And I got to the point where I was just drinking straight out of the bottle. At the height of my addiction, I was drinking 1 to 2 bottles of wine per day and a minimum of a 40-ouncer every day. I'd wake up in the night, unable to sleep. I'd go downstairs and just tip it and drink whatever I could, go back to bed. I'd get up in the morning knowing I'd be going to work, and I would be shaking so bad I used to have to drink a triple at least before I'd even get in the shower. It was a hell of a way to live.
It felt like you had almost given up hope at that point.
I had, and I'm almost embarrassed to say it, but I mean, it was just, I just had to drink to get out of myself, and I really didn't care where it was going to take me. They were questioning everything I was doing, my son and daughter. Of course, being an alcoholic, there's no better liar. We're professionals at it. And I always had an excuse or, no, I'm not really drinking. I'm fine and I'm good. And I was doing a tremendous harm to myself. But when I look back at it now, is that the emotion and the mental issues that I may have caused for my son and my daughter, I don't know. I really don't. I know I said sorry to them so many times. I went to rehab for 28 days, And when I came home, I told them, I said, you know, they tell us we're supposed to make amends. But I said, I'm not going to make amends to you because I've told you how sorry I am so many times. And as you know, it's gotten to mean nothing. So what I'm hoping is that the way I live my life from this moment on will be my amends to both of you, and that someday in your heart you'll be able to forgive me for any wrongs that I've done towards you.
I want to go back to December 29th, 2011, which is your sober date. Can you tell me how that started and what you did, what steps you took?
Woke up and, of course, hungover, you know, and shaking and everything. All I wanted was a drink. So I got out of bed and I could hear the TV on downstairs and I thought, who's here? And I looked out in the driveway and I seen my son was there. So I thought, I can't go down to the bar and get a drink, but then I always had wine in the kitchen. So I looked and there was 2 bottles there, but they were empty. And then I thought, I got a bottle of Drambuie up here on the top. So I grabbed that down, took it off, and I took as big a slug of that as I could. I don't know how much of it I drank, but it was a lot. And when I was done, it's like I was trying to keep everything in, and the hair was just standing right up on my arms. And within seconds, I could feel the warmth of it going down and the nerves settling. So I was very careful not to make any noise, and just as I went to put the bottle back up, it clinked. I took off down the hall. I could hear my son coming up the stairs. I jumped in bed, cover my head up, and I can sense he's there. And then I could hear him walking away down the hall, and I'm in bed laughing, thinking, I fooled him. Short time later, I woke up. I passed out, of course, then. I woke up again, went back out to get another drink, and he wasn't, there was nothing there. He found it. And I didn't know what I was going to do. So I came back into my bedroom, and Peter, I can't tell you why I did this, but this is exactly what I did, exactly what I said. I came around to the bed, and for whatever reason, I got down on my knees. And I said, Dear God, I can't do this anymore. I need your help. I give up. That's all I said.
I've talked to a couple other people, including on this show, about something that happens when we reach the end. And it's, for me, it felt like a psychological shift, like something changed within me. I don't know what it was, but I was definitely not the same person that I had been even like hours earlier. Can you relate to anything like that?
I can tell you in all sincerity, from that moment until right this instant that I'm speaking to you, I've had no want, no need, no desire, no thought of a drink. When they opened up the door, there was these 2 gentlemen there, and they had a book of Alcoholics Anonymous. And I almost turned around and left. And then when they told me it was going to be group counseling and very little one-on-one, I thought, this is what I signed up for. But after the 3rd day, I was playing crib with one of the counselors every evening, and I told him, I said, look, I said, I'm going home. I said, on Friday. I said, this isn't for me. And he said, why? I said, I'm not like these people. I said, you know, they've all been, someone's been to jail. They've been bankrupt 3 times. They're on their 3rd marriage. They've lost their job. They've lost their home. I said, that's not me. And he said, listen, he said, you're comparing yourself to them.
Yeah.
He said, you got to start relating to them. He said, because there's all types of alcoholics at all different levels. And I said, I'll give it till Friday. And when Friday came, he said to me, so you going home? I just told him to F off. I said, I guess I'm here. Because then I realized myself at that time that yes, I was an alcoholic. This guy, name of Dennis, he was my counselor, and I taught the world of him. And I told him, I said, listen, I said, if I make it to a year, when I'm celebrating my 1-year anniversary, will you come be my speaker? And he said, yes, I will. So I said, get up. And he was from Newfoundland. And he stands up and he says, my name is Dennis so-and-so. And I'm from a little town in Carbonear, Newfoundland. There's 15 of us in a family. He said, and back then, he said 6 to a room was considered semi-private. And he said, we were so poor. He said that on Christmas morning, if we didn't wake up with an erection, we had nothing to play with.
Yeah, that's a good one, actually. I'm gonna use that, Gerry. I wanted to talk to you about your work with the community. I know you're involved with Crosby House, and I also know you're involved with an organization called Freedom Foundation. Can you tell me a little bit about both of those roles?
I was asked to go on the board of Crosby House 3 years ago. That was so rewarding, and thinking that that's the place that got me sober. And I guess they thought I've come around good enough that I can now help direct the future of where that organization is going. And it's been very, very rewarding. The Freedom Foundation is an organization that I'm really more involved with. We bring alcoholics and addicts in from the street, from detox, from referrals. And a lot of them, when they come in, they only have the clothes on their back. If they have anything else, it's normally in a plastic bag. We get them set up with a doctor, with a dentist. We get them a counselor, and we teach them how to live.
Well, it's amazing work you're doing over there. I hope that people that are watching check out Freedom Foundation and the work you guys are doing. And I think it's also a template for something that other cities should be doing too.
I'd just like to say one final thing, Peter, is that in my almost 13 years of sobriety, I have been given so much by other people that I will never be able to live long enough to repay what has been given to me. And that's why I want to give as much as I possibly can, because without those people, I wouldn't be here today talking to you.
Well, I can attest to that because I met Gerry on a golf course, and I just want to tell you the type of man that this is. We ended up in a golf tournament where there's basically booze at every hole, and I didn't know Gerry, but we end up in the same golf cart. And the first hole, I remember the first time we got to a hole where they were serving mojitos or something, everyone jumps out of their golf course and runs to get a mojito, except for me and Gerry. And Gerry kind of looks over at me, and I kind of look at him. And right away, you knew I was sober. And right away, I knew you were sober. And we connected immediately. And I think that's such a cool memory because I was pretty new moving back here to Nova Scotia. I did grow up here, but I moved back. And this is how great of a man this guy is. Not long after that, I got my 3-year anniversary for being alcohol-free. And even though I'm not in the program, Gerry presented me with this. This is a 3-year anniversary chip. And I just want you to know that this lives on my bedside table. It's the first thing I look at every morning.
And I can tell you, Peter, in March, in your 5th anniversary, you're going to have another one of those.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it, man.